You ready to go? So we had another location with another familiar face. And as you can see, you can hear the music going on in the back. And I here with the one and only. Please introduce yourself.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning to those who are watching it in the morning, and good afternoon to those who are watching it in the evening. My name is Julien, and it's a pleasure to be here with my good friend today.
Yeah, so welcome to Erryting Kool.
Yeah, we don't want to do anything to scare your children. That's the last thing we want to do. We don't want to scare anybody.
The tourists come over to chill on the beach, but they don't come over the hill where we sleep. We got nightmares and they got fantasies. No sanity, it's just insanity. My mommy hoping nothing happens to me.
This is Lord Julien Willard. And I was telling Kellen, who was helping me today, the last time we was here was 3 years ago before the pandemic. I'd had a good time. You know, a lot of artists came through. And ironically, it was the last time I saw MDs perform. So, you know, but before we go there, let's go all the way back. Actually, before we start every show, we always have a segment called the Main Word Phrase, the saying of the day. And we always give that to our guests.
For me, it's yeah, you see.
Yeah, see, yeah, oh, okay. That's obvious, and the thing, you know.
Yeah,
so, yeah, see. So, as I was preparing, this has been a long time coming. I've known Julien for, I think, since 2018.
Yeah.
So going down on Bay all the way to now, like, you know, being with you and seeing all different phases and stages. But I wasn't there in the beginning. And a friend told me, like, I didn't know this, but he was like, when you talk to Julien, ask him, who was EDJ?
Whew. So, if you know me from like a long time, like when I was a teenager, EDJ was a singing group that I was a part of. And that's where I really got my start in music.
Okay.
And it was Ellie, Dervin, and Julien, and it was pronounced Edge.
Oh.
And the foundation of my music career, it all started literally with Ellie and Dervin.
Okay.
And I was like almost like the background singer of the group, and you know, they were a little more older than I was, so they was able to teach me a lot. And even at that time, we were doing like a fusion sound, singing and mixing it, you know, and that group is the reason why you actually could see Julien Believe today.
Interesting. So going from the background, like what made you say, after a while, let me try to do this solo thing?
Well, you know, life happens, eh?
Yeah.
And, you know, the guys had responsibilities that they could no longer, like, put to the side. They were like 5, 6, 7 years older than I was.
Okay.
And so, literally, the opportunity presented itself for me to pursue a solo career. And it was very difficult in the beginning, but I had their support, and I think because of them, it helped to push me to want to be a Bahamian artist, or artist from the Bahamas for that matter. And that's how come you have Julien Believe.
Yeah, because I always talk about this, and I was just talking about this last night. No one really talks about like the music scene in the mid to late 2000s.
Right.
And it's like a lot of the artists at that time, some still doing it, some sort of transitioning to other career paths. But you sort of stuck through it before you came out with a more so a traditional R&B sound.
Yeah.
And then what was the switch for you? Because I think I was coming out of high school around 2010. And I think probably a little while after that's when you started introducing the Caribbean side, and you sort of was pushing that for like a 4-year period. Yeah. Like when you first made it, like what that process was.
What ended up happening was, you know, I loved R&B, and I ended up moving to Philadelphia and signing my first record deal in 2009 with people responsible for like Freddie Jackson. It was a label called Hush Productions. And at that time, R&B was popping, R&B was what everyone was singing, and I had a singing voice to them. So I wrote this song called Believe that literally just was a testimony of my life.
So this was, you had Julien Believe the name already before the song? Or?
No.
Okay.
So my name was just Julien at the time.
Okay.
The song was called Believe.
Okay.
And literally, one of my friends and mentors, Monique, who's the queen of comedy.
Yeah.
She
Shout out
always,
Monique.
yes. She always used to say, Julien, believe in yourself. So literally on my Facebook, I used to have Julien, believe in yourself. And when the song Believe came out, radio just used to say Julien, believe. And I think 100 Jams and 104.5, they were the ones that just kept saying Julien, believe. And literally, I just stuck with it and kept going with it. And, you know, here I am today. And fast forward, the Caribbean Slide was recorded in New York City, 2010 summer. And October of 2010 is when we released it.
Okay.
It took about 4 years to get it popular.
Okay.
And there was a switch because I really wanted, I saw a lot of people dancing on the floor, man. And Believe was just an inspirational song. It was a slow song. But I wanted to get people up and moving. And I felt like I needed to create like an electric slide of the Bahamas or of our day. And that's how the Caribbean Slide ended up coming about.
Because I don't think I ever go to any like Bayman party or wedding where the Caribbean Slide doesn't play. Like that becomes such a staple. Like it's almost like the cubic shuffle. It's almost like what's the other? It's slipping with me right now. The other like family
Cha-cha
barbecue,
slide,
the cha-cha slide,
the electric slide,
like
the wobble.
Like it's just a staple. Like you can't go to nowhere to no family function without the Caribbean Slide. So what made you want to sort of grind the song out for such a long time? Because normally that used to be an old thing artists do. Most times, especially post 2000, most people just put music out, and if it don't hit, it don't hit. They don't work the song. I not work it as long as you did.
I believed in the record, and I knew that the goal was to have every Bahamian person know the dance or want to try the dance. And when I played at a party, a concert, wedding, etc., my goal was just to have Bahamians be able to do it the way that they did the electric slide. And it didn't matter how long it took. And so for me, we kept going and kept going and kept going and kept going. And
because I remember even one time I was working the mall and y'all had like a flash mob in the sports center.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, this is different.
Yeah. And you know, that was it. We were having fun, doing the flash mobs, popping up different places, and just building our foundation of it, getting content. And we just knew that the goal is for it to be big in the Bahamas first, then the Caribbean, then the world.
Yeah.
And the more we promoted it, the more we sung it, the more opportunities presented itself. And the 4 years just flew by.
Yeah, because wasn't in the 4 years is when you performed at Miss World?
Yes.
Okay.
So we released it 2010, and I think late 2014, Christmas 2014 is when we did Miss World, and that was an experience of a lifetime.
Like, for those who don't know, like, how does that really, like, how do you get to a point? Because when I saw it, I was like, interesting, and I made a mental note, and it wasn't until later, years later, I met you and your team. I was like, okay. I started to figure it out because being a fellow creative, you always try to figure out how you get to that next level, and that's that mountaintop you hit sort of early because we can get into the backstretch of all the other songs, but tell us about how you felt in that moment and the grandiose you in China. It was in China, right?
Yeah.
It was in China. You on that big stage. It was on CBS.
Everywhere.
It was on everywhere. You on Mass Public TV. You millions and millions of audience and this, boy from the Bahamas doing this thing.
So, one of the things that I'm most proud of is my team and I, we were the first Caribbean artists to ever grace the Miss World stage. And, who would have thought a song that blew up in the Bahamas would be able to be performed on that mountain of a stage?
Yeah.
And literally, I always thank the Miss Bahamas organization and Chantal and O'Brien, our reigning Miss Bahamas, because she took the song and she performed it in China at the Dances of the World section because every girl has to showcase a dance from their country.
Okay.
They took it. They saw it and they didn't even tell her.
Okay.
And Chantal found out when I arrived that I was performing at it. So like, that was the motivation, and that let us know 4 years later that, you know, the work that we did and everything that to get us to that point was not in vain. And I think that moment wasn't just for me. Every person that was a part of those flash mobs, every person that was a part of those performances, the choreographers of the dance, that moment was for them. You know, so I'm always grateful that I was the one that stood there with the microphone.
Yeah.
But that was about the country. That was about all the creators who gave up, all those who started it.
And there's a lot that gave up.
You know,
the way,
so
unfortunately.
And you know, because of that, I keep going. You know.
So now let's talk about the other singles. Like one of my favorite, I think you get the wine from is the Living Wine joint. So, you know, Wine Party Ambassadors, and even just embracing the soca sound, which, you know, around 4 years after you sort of started grinding out the Caribbean slide, we had started adopted Bahamas Carnival, and then Bahamas started got exposed to the whole entire carnival circuit that was already going on in the Caribbean for many years. So talked about, you know, little going into that direction and sort of even collaborating with other Caribbean artists, and, you know, from the Beanie Mans and so on and so on.
I think it's important to not keep the culture here in the Bahamas.
Of course.
I think it's important to expose the culture to the world. And the Bahamas is a melting pot of cultures. You know, we're not one genre over here or one genre over there. People from all over the world are there.
Yeah.
And what I think we don't do enough is show off the diversity of our country, the diversity of our culture. And for me, I just wanted to be different. I looked at those who were successful in music globally, and I tried to pattern my career after them. So when I saw Bahaman with their fusion sound, and I saw T-Connection, and I saw Johnny Kemp, you know, and Joseph Spence, all of these artists had a sound that the world, the beginning of the end, like all of them had a sound that the world loved, and that the world could understand. And for me, that's what it was about. And that sound, when those foreign artists or the artists from the region or Carnival heard it, they fell in love with it.
Yeah.
And through that, it's how I got the collaborations with the Bungees and the Beanies and all the others.
Yeah.
And I just really want our people to know that we've got to value the treasure that we have in our backyard.
Indeed.
And I think a lot of times, like Dr. Miles used to say, people would die with their talent in the casket.
Die with the baton in their hand, too.
Right.
I wouldn't pass it.
You know?
So you're like, you know.
So to me, it's just about, I have this opportunity, and I just want to share my talent with the world, and I just want to make sure that at the end of the day, Julien Believe gave his all to be the best artist that he could be on behalf of the Bahamas.
I love that. So was this around the time you started to coin the term Junkanoo Pop?
Yeah, so Junkanoo Pop, actually, I give credit to Rick Erry for that.
Yeah, I heard you said that before,
Yeah.
like, you know, and actually like listening to how he was infusing the gourmet drums and some of the scraping of the saw and things like that.
Rick Erry's hands down probably the best producer when it comes to that sound. And back in 2005, Rick Erry was making those types of tracks for me. And that's when I was exposed to it, and I was writing songs based on what he was sending me from then. And, you know, I just kept with it. I just love what he did. And I learned a lot from him. And when people used to ask, what's the genre? It's Junkanoo with a pop twist, you know? And pop is just popular music. It's music from all over the world. So it only made sense to me.
Listen, I feel like it was probably around this time that you started diverting yourself to doing more traditional Bahamian music, like getting into more of the Junkanoo. And then this around the time we sort of met, because I had just launched TJT not that long ago, and then you sort of reached out for the whole campaign situation. So talk to us about, like, you know, making that and going down on Bay and everything like that.
I wanted to find a way to get my music played on Bay Street.
Okay.
Because, you know, when you made it when the Junkanoo groups play your music. And I wanted a song that could be an anthem. And it was just one of those vibes. When I heard the track, I was just like, I gotta rep the country on this one, you know? And I think literally that's why we went in that direction. We wanted to show people that, listen, we about this for real. We about the culture for real. And that's why we went so hard and partnered with all the jungle groups, the dancers, and
that was a fun experience.
You know? And we wanted to highlight those dancers because a lot of times certain people in Junkanoo get the credit for the work.
Yeah.
I wanted to celebrate those women.
Indeed. I thoroughly enjoyed that whole going around and meeting the different groups. We did all the major Junkanoo groups and colors.
And I thank you for that.
Yeah.
I thank you for your role and believing in our vision.
Yeah.
And to be able to stand by us.
Yeah.
Place after place, group after group, video after video, countless hours in time that you guys have spent.
And then even going down on Bay Street and doing the Bay Street performance the first time ever. We had a Bahamian artist perform main time Junkanoo. Because I always tell the story about how we came down Bay Street with Valley Boys. The parade got delayed. They were supposed to go on at 2. They ain't come down Bay Street until 5 o'clock in the morning. We waiting up. We it was just crazy, but it was trying to make it happen. But, so after that situation, you started doing more so commentary on society, Dorian happened, and you had welcoming artists to more so come together for a great cause, lend their voices, make music. Actually, Mr. Killer and those, you had concerts, benefit concerts and things like that. So tell us the process of you being a philanthropist.
One of the things that I've learned is you've got to change with the times. You've got to adapt. And for me as an artist, I just wanted to show the country that, and the persons from Abaco and Grand Bahama and all the Bahamians that were affected by the storm, that we believed in them and we wanted to encourage them and empower them. And I think as an artist, you have a voice, and you've got to use it not to your benefit, but also to the people that listen to you. And that was an opportunity on behalf of the country and on behalf of the Caribbean to showcase that the world loves the Bahamas, that the Caribbean artists, the different genres of music, love and support the Bahamas, and that I love the Bahamas. And I was just glad to be a part of it, something that will outlive me. And now that's a song that anytime any island or is devastated by a storm, that's their go-to. And that's really what the win is for me at the end of the day. I'm just glad to be able to have something that will last.
So, pivoting forward, Julien Believe, the businessman. Because it was actually at this party 3 years ago, you saw the debut Julien Believe Wines. So tell us about that whole venture and you bringing it through, even, launching in the pandemic and it gaining success.
Boy, I
like how a lot of this connect and I was around for a lot of it.
I wanted to do something different. And tonight, a lot of the artists that mean a lot to me are performing. And 2017, Farmer Nappy said to me, artists don't have a pension plan.
That's true.
So it's important to invest in something that can create a pension for you. Believe Wines was it. And I wanted to be like Diddy, and I wanted to be like Jay-Z and DJ Khaled and Rick Ross and Kanye, just having all of these
just being an entrepreneur. You already have a brand established. Now it's time to diversify.
Yeah. And I felt like, I like getting the likes online, but how do you convert that? I like being popular, but how do you convert that? And at the end of the day, for me, I again wanted to leave something behind, something that the Bahamian people would, remember me for, and something that could be ours. And Believe Wines was just it for me. And I'm glad to have that and have something where I could put culture in the bottle and something I can now invest back into culture. So, the mantra of Believe Wines and the mission is all about investing in the arts and getting what we do to the world.
So because you've been talking about legacy a lot, and I think it's always important of any great individual, after you sort of build yourself as a person and hone your craft, is to start thinking about how you're going to leave your mark on the earth. Because Drake make this line popular, we here for a good time, not a long time, so it's like you got to get them out the most. And, Dr. Miles even said that too. Because you just ain't want to go to the grave full with all this potential. You want to get it all out of your system.
I think watching Ronnie and spending the last 3 years of his
Ronnie
life.
Butler, that is.
Ronnie Butler.
Yeah.
Spending the last 3 years of his life by his bedside and being able to learn from him and understand how he was a success and the wants and needs that he had. I always tell people, like, this Believe Wines thing was birthed from him and it was inspired by him. And he always said he wished that he had left something that Bahamians could remember him for other than his music. And I know he's up there watching and proud because something that we discussed, I was able to bring it to life and execute it. And I think you have no choice to make sure that the world knows that you're here or you was here.
Indeed.
And for me, I just want to leave my mark. I just want to make sure that at the end of the day, people remember me for the good work that I would have done and the impact that I would have had on their lives. You know, and when my kids and my grandkids walk the streets one day, that people always point to them and remember them and open up doors for them because of the work that my team and I would have done. So legacy is super important, and I just proud to live in the moment and have so many good people open up the doors and inspire me, man.
Yeah, because, so now what's next on the agenda? Because I always rave about how I enjoyed myself the last time I was here, how you brought everybody out locally. So what do we expect tonight?
So tonight I'm still celebrating arts and culture, you know. I'm working on a lot now, business-wise, expanding Believe Wines. And, you know, sky's the limit with that. We just gonna see where it goes. Keep putting it out there. We got kiosks all over the place where people can have samples and patronize it if they'd like. But tonight is about the artists. Tonight is about the people. You know, tonight is about love, happiness. That's fellowship coming together. You know, it's been a few years.
It has.
You know, a lot of people didn't make it to this moment, and tonight is about the love and the belief in one another. And all the artists that are coming out tonight, from Farmin' Happy to D-Mark, Veronica Bishop, Prophet Lawrence, Dyson and Wendy, Nishi. You know, it's about them coming together, showing people the love, and just making people feel good at the end of the day.
So will you see like Believe Wines going? And
we going.
Okay.
We gonna keep going.
So you think this, like Julian's birthday party, could be a more staple to where
Definitely
it could be an annual thing we get together?
We were planning this one from 2019. We were planning the 2020 and the 2021.
Obviously the 20, like,
you know.
Happen.
So this was 3 years in the making, and we won't stop.
Okay.
As long as I have health and strength, I will celebrate this, and this will turn into an event that grows and grows and grows and grows and grows. Next time we meet off,
something on the lake.
boats in the lake, stage in the lake.
Anything is possible.
We might
Once
do
you
a show
believe.
here where people can park their cars in the side, and we might have people in the kayaks or, you know, rowing the boats. I mean,
Ideas.
you know, we'll try. You know,
I mean, you can do anything once you believe.
amen to that.
But I must say, it's been a pleasure being a part of your journey. Thank you again. This has been an interview 2 years in the making. Thank you again for joining us on Erryting Kool. May I have a couple people pass by for the end off, but you know, we want to get to the festivities. See y'all later. Yeah, see.
Hey, hold up.
All right.
Which camera looking? Yo, what's up, y'all? It's your boy Julien Believe, and I hope you know Erryting Kool.
Yeah, see.
Yeah, you see.
All right.
Keep it locked.